All right, everyone, let's get started. Welcome to the fifth and final event in our orientation webinar series. We're very excited to have you join us for this discussion from wherever you may be in the world. My name is Danica, and I'm the International Student Orientation Coordinator. It's nice to meet all of you. Today's topic will be on your campus life, and it will be presented by members of the International Student Ambassador Team and the Student Alumni Board. They are current students who have attended the U for several years, and they have very valuable insight to share with you tonight. Our goal for this webinar is to help you understand a bit more about what life is like as a student at the University of Utah, as well as the many resources and opportunities that will be available to you once you arrive on campus. I'll now ask each presenter to briefly introduce themselves, starting with Sharifa.
Greetings, I'm Sharifa Bassa. I'm majoring in biology with a chemistry minor, and I'm from the great city of Baton Rouge, Louisiana, and I'm a junior.
Hi everyone, my name is Rachel. I'm from Utah, so I'm super experienced in Utah culture, I guess. But I'm currently a first year medical student, and I also did my undergrad at the U.
Hey everyone, my name is Mary, and I am a senior studying biomedical engineering and psychology at the U. I was born in India, but grew up in Singapore before moving here with my family to Utah.
Hello everyone, my name is Danny. I am a graduate student finishing up my PhD, and my name is Danny. I am from South Korea originally, but I was raised in Utah.
All right, thank you everyone. Before we begin, I want to go over just a few reminders with you all. So this webinar is being recorded and it will be posted on the ISSS website so that you can refer back to it at any time if you have questions. And if you think of any questions that you want to ask during the presentation, please use the Q&A feature. It might be at the bottom of your screen or the top. And you can use that feature to ask any questions that you might have. We ask that you please keep all of your questions appropriate and relevant to the webinar topic. If you are wondering about the previous webinars that we did, we have posted a few of those on our website, on the ISSS website already. We will be posting more information about those, and we'll be sending out an email to all incoming students where you can find those webinars on our website. So we thank you for your patience as we're getting those up on the website over the last couple of weeks. If you experience any technical difficulties during the presentation, please send an email to international-welcome@utah.edu with the subject line webinar tech issue, and we will do our best to assist you. Again, we're very excited to have you joining us from all around the world, and let's get started with our first discussion on U of U athletics, very exciting, which will be presented by Sharifa.
Thank you so much. I am so super excited to actually present here in athletics because this is one of the main reasons why I come to the U. One of the main reasons why I come to the U. We have a very exciting group of students here and we have a great team, both alumni and as well as students. Briefly, I'm just going to touch base on how to register and how you can be part of the MUS and be the vocal part of the Mighty Student Student Center session. So unfortunately, the football games are canceled for the fall semester, but we are looking to push that into spring. But that also depends on health concern, health issues, how COVID is going on. Keep updated on our website or even on our Twitter or Instagram page, both on the University of Utah main page as well as the athletics page. And then let's talk a little bit about attending games. So if you're a University of Utah student, which I'm pretty sure all of you are, you can easily attend any games just by showing your U card. And then you are welcome to bring a guest, and that is additional cost that comes with that, and official cost, and that can be found on our website as well. I'd like to talk a little bit about the football. I mean, with the football, you will have to reserve tickets because seats are pretty limited with our football games. They're pretty wild, I'll say. And that can easily be done on the Utah Ticket Center. That's on the website as well. If you're ever confused or lost, you can always check out our Instagram or social media accounts. Lastly, let's talk about MUS. Each and every one of you is part of the MUS, regardless of whether you have MUS Premier or not. As long as you are a University of Utah student, you are part of the MUS. And what does the MUS stand for? It's the Mighty Utah Student Session. And fun fact, we are pretty loud. We have been ranked twice, once by ESPN and once by NCAA, and as being one of the top 5 local students sessions. And on top, fun fact, actually, we can also set off the seismograph in the Earth and Mines building, which is like all the way across by the Student Services building, if you are aware of where that is, or you can just search up the Earth Science building, and it's pretty far away from the football stadium, so it's crazy to see that. We created a little earthquake for more chaos over there. Lastly, we have MUS Premium. So MUS Premium is basically the, let's say, the Spotify, the Spotify account that, or the Apple Music that you subscribe to. Basically, it's a one-time fee of $50, and it gives you access to getting a free t-shirt in the beginning of the season, as well as tailgating in the beginning of every game. And with the tailgating, it comes with free food as well as giveaways. And if you win the giveaway, you get a chance to be in front line of the football game, just like cheer them on. All right, and then let's see. Other things about the MUS is you can have guests. You can have up to 2 guests, I believe, and that's additional charge by like $199 per guest. Okay, next, let's talk about the MUS Bus. So the MUS Bus is traveling to an away game, and then you do pay a small fee from that, and it's only available for MUS Premium members. So you do have to be part of the $50 little plus premium members. So that will include your fare to and from the game, and then the 2-night hotel stay and other perks as well. All right, now let's talk about Soup. Who's Soup? Soup is our mascot. It's a red-tailed hawk. It's a red-tailed hawk. And it's a bird that is Indonesian to the state of Utah. We love Swoop. You can see him on campus everywhere. Most of the time during game seasons. Come down to President Circle and you'll see him over here trying to interact with students, as well as weeks of welcome. He will be around, so go ahead and take a picture of him. You probably will get reposted to the University of Utah page. Sounds cool to me. And lastly, Flash to You. And it's not a W, it's a U. So Flash to You, you can do that Flash to You Friday. And that's one of the traditions that we do a lot here on campus. If you're up in the mountains or even like Vegas or whatever, go ahead and Flash to You, and you can possibly get posted on the University Athletics page or the University of Utah main Instagram page. But like I did talk about a little bit tailgating. For more information can be found on our website, or you can all feel free to email the Student Alumni Board and they can help you out with that. Lastly, we do have a big giant U up right by the University of Utah Hospital, and that is LED lights. And it's most of the time in the beginning of the school semester, students will hike up there, take some nice pictures. Great way to start the beginning of the semester. But on game nights, it does light up red, and then it does also sing the University of Utah fight song. Pretty cool. Lastly, we have around the tracks around campus, whether it's South Campus, whatever tracks area you stop by that's near campus, it will start playing the school song. So a great chance to have that school spirit. I'll highly recommend to take some time and learn a little bit about and learn the school fight song. I love it to my heart, and every time I pass by the tracks, I just sing it a little bit, or if I have a group of friends, I just burst out the lyrics because I love it so much. All right, other teams, any game you're able to come to the basketball game, football game, gymnastic games. They're free student tickets, just welcome. And one of our greatest, like on top of football, where we have the largest crowd, our gymnastic team is pretty amazing, no lie. And our basketball team as well, and soccer team. Come here and support. We have a section for you if you're MUS Premium. If you're not totally totally come and support and show your school spirit. Lastly, more information on tickets and scheduling can be found on the athletic website at the utahutes.com. You can get the schedule of season as well as updates on, hey, are we going to play spring? I'm hoping we play in spring because I was looking forward to the season, but COVID kind of stopped everything. All right, so next I'm going to pass it on to Rachel, and Rachel's going to talk a little bit about the union.
Thank you. So I'm going to talk a little bit about the union, and what the union is basically just the heart of our campus, which is where students are able to go, and it's just a place for students to have resources, to go eat something, to study, whatever you need to do, the union has a place for you. You'll see sometimes on campus there's a sign that says all roads lead to the union. So pretty much any sidewalk that you take, any road, it will lead to the union. So it's really helpful because there's a lot of resources there that are really valuable for students, and this building is specifically for us. So it's a really great place to get familiar with. So the first thing I want to talk about is the food that's there, because we all love food. There's lots of options there. There's a great cafeteria, and we've got a great food court that has a couple of different restaurants that are pretty popular around here. And there's like a breakfast restaurant. There's a couple of lunch places. You can get smoothies there, or you can just pick up like a sandwich or sushi, kind of whatever you're in the mood for. They'll have food there for you, and it's pretty reasonably priced. There's also on the outside, you can see this picture of the union. Usually just below this picture of the union, there's some food trucks that will sit out there. And there's a lot of great options. One of my favorite is it's called Cupbop. So it's Korean kind of food. So it's pretty good. So I definitely recommend checking some of those out as well. We also have Crimson View, which is a restaurant that's on the top floor of the Union building. So if you're in the mood for something a little more fancy than, just a quick bite to eat. We also have a Feed You pantry, which is a great resource for students, especially if when you come here, things can be pretty expensive, and Feed You pantry is a resource for students to have, to be able to have food. You can pick up groceries there, fresh produce, and you can take that home, and it's no cost to you. It just comes with you being a student. If you're really in need of that, it's available for you. There's also a small convenience store that you can pick up little snacks, or like a chapstick, a hand sanitizer, a t-shirt. So you can definitely stop in there and pick up something there. You'll all get a U card when you get here, and the U card can be used to make purchases inside of the union. So if you load some money on that, you can definitely apply that to some of the purchases at the restaurants and the cafeteria that are in there. So I'm going to kind of break up the rest of the union based on floors. So the first floor, we have the U card office, which is where if you have any issues with your student ID, they can help you with that. You can call them, or you can go online, or definitely stop in person, and they can help you. There's also a bowling alley. We call it Crimson Commons. So they have like ping pong, they have some video games. They'll play the sports games there. They have pool, air hockey, virtual reality, kind of pretty much any activity that you'd want to do. They have a little area down there for students to be able to play games at a really discounted price. And there's also an app that's called Pocket Points, where you can, if you don't use your phone during class, you can get these points, and then it'll allow you to like go bowling for free. So if you want like a cheap activity to be able to do with your friends, like on the weekend or after class, that's definitely a great option to check out that. Let's see, we also have, there's a little computer lab on the first floor. There's a tech repair store, and there's also the Benyon Center, which is a super great place to be able to get involved with service projects. A lot of people search for volunteer hours to build their resume, so that's definitely a great resource for students to have. It's a student-run organization where people will take service trips to other countries, or just local service projects as well. So if you're interested in doing any service, the Benyon Center in the Union is a great place to go. Moving on to the second floor, we have some service desks. So you can, just there, you can generally get information. So if you're lost, it's a great place to go. They have maps and other things to help you find where you're going. You can buy balloons there. You can get discounts to like movies, or pretty much anywhere that you'd like to go. They can probably find a discount or a resource for you. You'll see in the hallway, there's a bunch of flags hanging up in the hallway. So that's kind of a cool thing to see. All the different countries around the world, they'll have a flag hanging up in the union. There's also Union Programming Council and ASUU. So these are student organizations where students get together and maybe they have a certain group that they want to organize. Say like a group of students really likes to play ping pong. So maybe they start a ping pong club, or maybe, I don't know, pretty much any club or group that you can think of. It's part of ASUU. You can register your group. So if you have something you're interested in starting a group in, you can definitely do that. Just get a few more students with you, and ASUU can help you with that. ASUU is also a great place where they have open tables for students to go and eat your lunch or study, and just student representation. So if you're interested in getting involved in student government, that's a great place to go as well. Third floor, we have the Personal Money Management Center, which is a place that if you want to learn how to make a budget, or if you want to know how you can save more money while you're going to school or get more money, that's a great place to go. We can all use a little bit more money. And then there's also the meditation and prayer space. So it's just a little area on the third floor that you can just go if things are kind of crazy during the day. You can go up there, and it's just kind of a quiet space that you can sit down and just have, you know, your own little space that you can meditate or pray or whatever you need to do. And then the fourth floor, we have the ISSS office, which is where you'll find Danica. You'll find other students that are international students there. Any issues with like your visa or anything else, you can go to the ISSS office and they can help you there. They also have child and family services. So if you have children, you can go there and they can set you up with resources with daycare or other, pretty much anything that you could need. They can set you up with some resources there. There's Women's Resource Center, and LGBTQ Resource Center as well. So those are definitely, I would just think of the fourth floor as pretty much a resource floor. So if you're looking for any sort of help or resource, somebody up there can definitely help you. There's also room rentals that you can, for your personal use or for a group. So if say you want to throw a party and you don't have a really big apartment like me, you can rent a room in the union and it's pretty cheap, and you can rent it and use it for however long you'd like to. And it's great if you want to just have a large activity, but you maybe don't know where to go. So that's an option for students as well. The union also provides scholarships for students. So they awarded $160,000 in scholarship money last year. And there actually is a spring application coming up. So if you keep that in mind, that's definitely something you should look at, because like I said, we can all use as much money as we can while we're college students. And then we have in front of the union a transportation hub. So just on the other side, so this picture shows kind of the back side of the union, but on the other side of the union, there's just kind of a loop that has all of the buses come there and the shuttles that are around campus. So if you need to get somewhere, the union's a great place to get on a bus or a shuttle to be able to take you to the tracks line or to take you to like any other building around campus. So I would definitely, if you're trying to figure out where to get a shuttle, the union is a great place as well. So that is the union in a nutshell. So it's definitely a great place, and I recommend you all to at least check it out when you get on campus. It will have pretty much anything you can need there. So yeah, and I'll pass it on to Mary now.
Awesome, thank you, Rachel. So for the next part of our webinar, we're going to be talking about campus events. I think one important aspect of the American college experience is perhaps centered around social events and gatherings on college campuses, and the University of Utah is no different. I think we truly believe in and we embody the work hard, play hard motto. So there are kind of typical events that happen throughout the school year. They're kind of spread out both in fall and in spring semester. So you kind of, the previous picture that you just saw was actually of an event that takes place right outside our Marriott Library. And a couple of different examples of events that typically take place are weeks of welcome that happen in fall semester to welcome new students, new international students, and new transfer students. We have Plaza Fest that happens right outside the union that Rachel was talking about, where you guys can learn about student organizations. Inside the union, we have Crimson Nights, which happens 4 times a year, which is sort of this night party, dance party, with a lot of really cool kind of events. And then our International Student Scholar Services also puts on our very own event, which is International Night. And last year we had roughly 500 people attend. It's sort of a cultural celebration. People perform, there's dance, there's music. So I think as the University of Utah student, you're going to have your fair share of plenty of opportunities to connect with other students and have lots of fun as well. You'll notice that a lot of campus events throughout the year are hosted by either our student government, which is ASUU, the Associated Students of the University of Utah, and or they're thrown by student clubs or organizations. And the great thing about all of these events are, as a University of Utah student, all of you already have free or discounted access to most of these campus events and venues. So once you get onto campus, you will get a student ID card, which is your UID, and that is sort of like your ticket to get onto a lot of these campus events. And when I talk about campus events, I'm not just talking about parties or large concerts. There's a lot of kind of smaller venues and smaller gatherings that we have as well. So you can go watch student performances, student symphonies, theater performances, dance performances. If you're interested in sports, you can go see some of our smaller sporting events like intramural soccer or football games. So we quite literally have a gamut of events that span all kinds of interests and clubs. So definitely while you're here studying at the University of Utah, be sure to check some of these out, and you'll meet some really cool people and might form some lasting friendships as well. I do want to kind of stress probably the most important and most hyped about or talked about event that is happening on our University of Utah campus this year, and that is the vice presidential debate that's happening in Kingsbury Hall on October 7th of this year. So for those of you who may not know, 2020 in the United States is an election year, and this year's election determines who's going to become the next President and Vice President of the United States. And the University of Utah is extremely proud and excited to be hosting one of the vice presidential debates. So come October, you're gonna have a lot of kind of events centered around that. We'll have the current Vice President Mike Pence, and then the Vice Presidential nominee Kamala Harris will be here at the university debating. So I think as University of Utah students, that's something that's incredibly exciting and proud for us to be students here at. I do want to kind of give a COVID-19 update because many of you guys might be wondering, so what's going to happen with COVID-19 and events on campus? So most realistically, a lot of campus events this fall are likely to be postponed, right out canceled, or held virtually this coming semester. And the best way you can find out information, not only COVID-19 updates on events, but also upcoming campus events, is through the 3 main resources. The first is the At the U newsletter. So this is a weekly newsletter that should automatically be coming to University of Utah email, your UMail, and you can find out, you can kind of stay up to date about all sorts of events and news that's happening on campus. So definitely be sure to read that newsletter weekly. Another resource is utah.edu/events. This is actually a website that you can go to that has a calendar format, which lists out every possible event that's happening on campus. And when I say every possible event, I literally mean you can find anything from socials, fun gatherings, concerts, to even PhD dissertations, talks, seminars. So you can filter the calendar based on the department, the category, the interest. And I know I personally use this website a lot to kind of see if there's any upcoming events that I want to go check out. And then finally, the University of Utah's Instagram page is also an excellent resource to kind of know about upcoming events, especially this semester when a lot of events are taking place virtually. The University of Utah's Instagram page will kind of highlight these events and let students know. I do want to say, please don't worry that you'll be, like, as students coming into campus this fall, please don't worry that you'll be missing out on an aspect of the American college experience. I know that our university administrators and student organizations and clubs are working around the clock to kind of reimagine different ways that can help all of you and all of us students connect and socialize this fall in a safe manner. Before I kind of conclude this particular section, I do want to kind of let you guys know of 2 virtual events that might be of interest to a lot of you students. The first is the on-campus job fair that's happening virtually. It's on August 25th and August 26th. It's free of charge, and you can register for this event at the utah.edu/events page. And then for those of you who are looking at STEM careers, we also have another virtual fair that's happening on September 21st and 22nd that you can also register at the utah.edu webpage. And with that, I'm going to hand it off to Danny.
All right, can everyone hear me? Okay, I'm going to assume that's yes. Okay, so yeah, I'll be talking a little bit about some of the resources that you guys might encounter. I mean, you guys might utilize while you're at the University of Utah. Next slide, please. So by now, you probably heard a lot about the Marriott Library. A lot of things are happening, but I'm going to talk briefly about what's available that you can utilize. And you can some of the things that you can do is you can check out tech materials. For example, laptops, they allow you to check it out. If you need a computer or a laptop for some reason, this is definitely a good opportunity to utilize. There's obviously Computer Lab, where you can print stuff, you can scan, you can do fax. Also, there's a 3D printer. So if your course requires that you do something like that, there's definitely that available. You can also check out some of the textbooks. I mean, obviously there's some limit to like how long you can use it for, but depending on the course and the instructor, you can check out some textbooks free of charge. There's also a writing center, which I will talk a little bit more about in a couple of slides later. And there's of course lots of study spaces, but with the COVID-19, I'm not exactly sure how it's going to all work out. So you might want to check out the website for the library and get the most updated information. All right, next I'm going to talk a little bit about Campus Store. You can probably find a lot of things, most things in Campus Store. Most importantly, there's the Starbucks in there on Campus Store, so you might want to use that if you like coffee. And you can buy textbooks. Of course, you can buy most of the classroom supplies. Also, there's some clothing, the apparels, the University of Utah, like, all the stuff that most stuff you can imagine. Some sports stuff like balls, like soccer balls or basketball, some mugs, cups, many things. So when you get here, you will definitely want to check Campus Store out, for buying textbooks and stuff like that. But some textbooks I have to add are cheaper on Amazon or other websites. So I'm not going to recommend you buy from Campus Store. But I'm a graduate student, so I don't need textbooks, but you all do. So make sure you buy the cheapest one. Next, I'm gonna talk a little bit about Student Services Building. This, traditionally this building was very important, but now with the advent of internet and online, so many stuff that you can do online, it's not as important. But you can definitely pay tuition if you don't want to pay online or don't know how to pay online. Hopefully that's not the case, but you can definitely go in and pay the tuition. There's also many other stuff such as scholarship and financial office. You probably might not use that option as much, but depending on your situation, you might have to. There's also the counseling center, which I'll talk a little bit about in the next slide or so. There used to be a tutoring center, but I think they moved to the Marriott Library. So ignore that part. So there's not that. There's admissions office, but you guys, for international students, the ISSS is the place you want to go to if you have a problem. So you can ignore that too. But so, for example, some of the things that it does that's relevant to international students: tuition, scholarship, financial office, counseling center. Those are some of the things that you might want to pay attention to. A Bennion Center. So next to Bennion Center and ASUU Student Government, they're both located at the Union, which is the central building at the University of Utah, kind of for students. And these are excellent CV builder if you get involved in any of these two. So Bennion Center is like a volunteer service learning experiences hub in a sense. It's almost like its own department where they do have actually professors there that oversee many of the volunteer experiences. It also teach some courses, not at the center, but the Bennion Center offers some of the coursework and service learning. And you can, this is not just, this is a great way to enrich your experience at the U. Not just coursework, but also engaging with the community, volunteering, and learning a lot of stuff. And there's also a lot of one of the capstone projects that you can get involved in. It'll have a CV, the transcript designation if you participate in that program. It's not that rigorous, and you might want to check it out. If you have more questions, I can help you navigate that. But so Bennion Center is a great way to get involved, to enrich your experience, and you could build CV or resume. Next is the ASUU and the elections. So ASUU is a short version for Associated Student of University of Utah. It's a student government. So it does have 3 branches of government, so executive, legislative, and the judicial. So, and most of these positions are elected positions. And you can, as an international student, you can also get involved in it. You can either get hired by the executive branch as one of the directors or cabinet members, or you can actually run for the position. There's a small financial award if you get elected, and also I think I'm frozen.
You're showing up okay on mine. You can
Oh, okay.
keep going. I can hear you.
All right. I think I was frozen. Sorry, everybody was frozen. Mary was frozen, but I don't think she was. Anyway, she was just paying attention. Anyway, okay, so I'm going to keep going. Apologize. So ASU elections. So you can definitely get involved in these, even as international students. So take that opportunity. By February, you will have to submit your name if you want to run for any of these positions. And as the elected officials, you get to participate and discuss and make decisions on many of the important University of Utah policies that are related to students. So it's excellent opportunity. Take advantage of that. Next, Matson Health Clinic. This is a health clinic that if you have the student insurance offered by the University of Utah, you can easily get here pretty much anytime you want, unless it's a busy season, busy time, with copay of $10. And the health system might be a little bit different in your home countries than here, but you definitely need, with the insurance, student insurance that you will have, you'll require referral if you want to go see a specialist. So you definitely want to go here first, and it's pretty cheap, only $10. And if you have to be seen by other specialists, they will refer you. If you just directly go to a specialist with a student insurance, it's very, very expensive. And also you'll submit all your immunization record, vaccination records, and if you need more, you can get the vaccines from here too for a very cheap price. So pay attention to Matson Health Clinic, but I'm sure most of you know what that is because it's you should have already received information about that. Next, University Counseling Center. So I briefly mentioned that it's located at the Student Services Building. I'm not sure what the copay is, but it's pretty cheap. It's very cheap and it's totally affordable. So if you're extra stressed out or if you're depressed, or if you need to talk to somebody, they do have trained counselors on site. So you want to use that opportunity. If you get the same services outside of the University of Utah, it's like totally very expensive. So good resource for students. Next is a learning center. It used to be called Tutoring Center, but they changed their name. Also, each department or colleges should have also like tutoring opportunities as well, separately, aside from this learning center. But learning center is obviously they have tutors. You have to pay small amount. I think it's $8 or $9 per hour, and you get to. There are actually. Most of them are students of the University of Utah, Some are not. Some are actually people who graduated who are experts in those fields. For example, my field, let's say I'm lacking in biochemistry. They do have tutors for that. I mean, not every subject, there aren't tutors for every subject, but most subjects they do have. And so some of the harder ones they definitely do. So check that out, Learning Center, if you need extra help. Okay, so Writing Center. I think this is one of the most important centers that are around for international students, unless you're a native English speaker. There are writing centers located at the Marriott Library. They're both one for graduate students and one for undergraduate students. So they can help. It's free of charge. You just have to sign up if you want to be, if you want to meet with one of the writing tutors, but it's free. And they can help you with many aspects of writing. They can pretty much they can help you understand your assignments. They can help you develop ideas, organize thoughts, obviously grammar. You definitely want to get that checked out. I still make a lot of mistakes in grammar. It's embarrassing, but that's, you definitely want extra help, and they're there for free. And they can also help you avoid plagiarism. Plagiarism is big in the United States or Western countries. You don't want to plagiarize. Obviously, you get 0 for the most part. I mean, in most of your assignments, if you plagiarize, you can plagiarize unknowingly. And so these writing tutors can help you avoid that as well. So definitely you use this opportunity. Like I said, it's free, so there's no reason not to. Okay. Next slide. Yep. So just a little bit about transportation. So we have campus shuttles on site that are going around. There are different routes, so you definitely want to check that out. Just type in campus shuttle, University of Utah, and it'll lead you to a site. You can get into a website and you can check out all the different routes within the campus. Also, with the U card, the student ID card that you'll get once you get here, maybe some of you are already here, I'm not sure, but once you get here, once you have the University of Utah student ID card, the UTA buses and the tracks and Fort Runner trains are free of charge, I believe. Is that, can I get a nod from Mary or something for Fort Runner? Okay, yeah, Fort Runner as well. Those are longer distance train. They're all free, that's great. So if you live off campus or a little bit far away from campus, this is a great, obviously, a resource. All you need is you have to register for, I think, at least a certain amount of credit hours, and you need to have a U card, and you're set, good to go. Something new that I'm not totally familiar with, but I've heard a lot about, is a Safe Ride. I think it's a van. They go around, like you have to text them or call them, and they will come to you where you are. They usually take a long time because a lot of students wants to use this. I've heard it can take up to an hour or something, but if you have to go back to your dorm or something and at night, and there's no shuttles anymore because it's late at night, they can help you. They can get you to your final destination. Unfortunately, you have to wait. You might have to wait a longer time. And also, in worst case scenario, if you're scared, if you're threatened, or if you don't want to just walk back to your classrooms or your dormitory or whatever, there are police to do safety escorts. If you call the campus police, and they'll give you a ride. But I'm hoping that you don't. I mean, you can utilize this great opportunity, but you might not want to abuse it. Like, if you're going to get a candy or something, and you call them and ask them to give you a ride, that's kind of abusing the campus resources. So, but otherwise, if you definitely need it, and you can call them and get a ride from them too. So, and I'm going to hand off to Mary again to talk about American Classrooms.
Perfect. Thanks, Danny. Yeah, these are some great resources. Be sure to check them out and use them. I will say the Learning Center, starting from this fall onwards, is free for all students, so you wouldn't even have to pay. So be sure to check out these resources. Finally, we kind of want to conclude this webinar with our last section, kind of going over what is the American classroom, and just kind of going over some distinct features that you can probably expect to see in your classrooms at the University of Utah. I know when I first moved here, my idea of a college classroom came from movies and TV shows, so like Pitch Perfect and Legally Blonde. And while some of that is true and some of it is relevant, I think there's still some myths that we're hoping that this last section can kind of debunk and offer you a little more realistic sense of what you can expect. So the one kind of biggest thing that we always get international students comment on is just how much more participation-oriented classrooms in the United States tend to be. So if you're coming from a country or a state where, you know, you're used to having a professor just stand up front and lecture for you straight for 90 minutes. That might not always be the case here. I think more often than not, you'll see classrooms are more discussion style, interactive. There's a lot of breaks in between where the professor will engage in a Q&A session with the classroom, or break out the large class into even smaller kind of groups to discuss the content. So you're really in for kind of an interactive and engaging lecture style. Another thing to note is about professors. A lot of you might be coming from places where you kind of refer to your professor or address your professor as Professor XYZ, that's how you call them. But you'll see really quickly here that oftentimes professor might ask you, hey, call me by my first name, call me Chad, you know, don't call me Professor Smith or whatnot. I think your best bet is to always ask the professor first, or kind of pay attention to what the professor says he or she would like to be addressed as, and kind of follow that rule. You'll also note that professors tend to have a very professional and casual relationship with their students. I mean, you'll see students oftentimes even your classmates in classes openly disagreeing with something the professor says or respectfully questioning them. I think that's kind of part of the spirit of an American classroom, is open discussion and, you know, collaboratively learning and finding and learning things. I will say this is one kind of advice that I wish I'd gotten when I came here, which was don't be afraid to talk to your professor. You know, that's true whether you're acing the class and getting all A's or you're not doing too well. Please reach out to your professors or your teaching assistant, which are kind of other students who might be available as resources in your classrooms. I remember in one of my physics classes, I had gotten like 2 C's on like my first 2 midterms. And I was so scared to go to my professor because I thought like, he probably thinks I'm a bad student, he won't really engage with me. But it was quite the opposite, and I regret not going sooner. And, you know, after visiting with that professor and talking with him, he gave me resources that really helped me kind of make a 180 in that class. So please don't be afraid to reach out to your professor. And, you know, building kind of good relationships with your professors can help you out in the long run, whether you're wanting to join the professor's lab, or, you know, asking the professor for an internship or a job opportunity, or even letters of recommendation. Another thing that's a really important component of the American classroom is, I can't stress this enough, the importance of the syllabus. So the syllabus is sort of like the manual that will get you through each and every one of your courses while you're studying here at the U and any other institution in the United States. It's a document that has all the kind of grading instructions, the course style, the course structure, and you'll find this document usually on Canvas once you have access to it. And please make sure you read it thoroughly and check this document to see how you should be communicating with your professor when your professor's office hours are. So office hours are like designated times that professors have made outside of class time, where you can just stop by their office or stop by to a teaching assistant and ask for additional help, or just check in and see and talk with them. So some professors or some courses will have designated office hours, and some might say it's by meeting only. So definitely reading through that syllabus is really important. And your syllabus will also go through course expectations and the grading structure and breakdown. So I remember in the beginning I said participation in American classrooms tend to be very important. In some of your classes, you'll note that you actually get a grade for participating. So how you can find out if you're being graded for participation is from that syllabus. So please make sure to read that, you know, before your classes begin, or, you know, by that first 2 weeks of the semester, just so that you're kind of, you know what to expect and there are no kind of blind spots as you're going through as a student. And then a couple of other features of an American Classroom is you don't have to ask permission to enter the class or leave the class, right? I mean, if you are running a couple minutes late to a class, that's okay, it's understandable. Just make sure you kind of enter the class quietly and respectfully. And same thing, if you have to go to the bathroom, or pick up a call, just leave the classroom quietly and respectfully. Don't kind of interrupt the professor and ask them if you can leave. There is also no dress code, so I think that's one thing that you'll see in a lot of like movies about American colleges is people walking into classes in like pajamas and sweats and slippers. You'll see some of your classmates do that. That's perfectly fine. And I think this year more, this might be very true. Face coverings are required in all classrooms. So make sure that you have one with you when you're going into a class. And in some of your classes, your professors might even have a seating chart just so that they can, in the case of contact tracing, they know where everyone is sitting. And your classrooms might also look a little different this year so that seating arrangements are socially distanced. I think those are kind of the main things that you should be aware of for American Classrooms. I don't know if any of the other panelists have anything else they want to kind of chime in and add in. But if not, I welcome all of you international students to the U. You truly enrich our campus and contribute so much to our classrooms. And we can't wait to see you here on campus.
All right, thanks, Mary, and thanks to all of our other presenters. It looks like we do have a couple of questions submitted through our Q&A, so we are going to answer those here live for you. So the first question, what is the app that Rachel mentioned? So I think, Rachel, you mentioned the app when you're in class and you're not on your phone, you can get points for something. Do you want to go over that maybe one more time?
Yeah, so that's called Pocket Points. So it's basically, yeah, you just sign up, you say that you're a University of Utah student, and when you aren't on your phone during class, when you open that app, it will track like how long you're not using your phone. It's just trying to encourage students to really be engaged in your learning. It'll track the amount of time that you've used the app, and then it'll give you points so that you can apply it to like a coupon, or you can go do the free bowling, or there's like other things like you can get some free food around Salt Lake as well. So it's a really great way to get some free stuff. So.
Awesome, thank you. Okay, our next question is, do all of these resources that we've talked about today have social media accounts?
I can actually answer that. Majority all have social media accounts. Even organizations and clubs have social media accounts. Literally, you can search it up. But another way, it's probably going to touch base on another question here is like, how will you find those social media accounts? There is called the Campus Connect, which is kind of like an organization list of all clubs, organizations here on campus, as well as ASU and any organization that you are part of listed on there. It's Campus Connect. Go in there and then just type in an organization that you're interested in. There's also a drop-down list, and this gives a whole entire list of all the University of Utah organizations here on campus and off campus, and who to contact, as well as what their social media platforms are.
Okay, thank you. All right, our next question, which you also kind of talked about a little bit, where can I see all the campus clubs? I'm not sure which ones I want to join. So like you just said, Sharifa, there is a website called Campus Connect. The actual URL, I believe, is getinvolved.utah.edu. So if you go on there, you can find, there are over 500 student organizations, and you can find all kinds of different things that you might want to get involved with. So be sure to go to that website if you're wondering about different student organizations. Again, it is getinvolved.utah.edu. Okay, next question is, where exactly can we find the syllabus for our courses?
Yeah, I can take that one. So once you get enrolled into a class for a semester, so for this fall, if you're enrolled in a class, you can access all of the course materials for that class through your CIS account, which you have to log in with your unit, your UID and your UID password. And then from your CIS account, you can click on a tile that says Canvas. So that is kind of the online learning platform where you'll find the syllabus. If your professors post homework assignments or slides or video recordings from lectures, you can also access them through Canvas.
Okay, great, thank you. The next question is, can you tell me more about the food app for food pickup? Or other apps where you can find food on campus or free food?
I can actually take that. One of the way I find free food is kind of just going to the union. With the union, there's like posters everywhere around the union that say, hey, there's gonna be free food here. There's also an app. The app, I believe, is called it's called Boost You or something like that, or correct me if I'm wrong, guys. And then it literally gives you access to any on-campus dining options, and then you have pickup. Like we're saying with the COVID restrictions, now a lot of the on campus are going to have a limit to how many occupancy they can have. So after a certain amount, they will go ahead and switch to the app, and that app will allow you to go ahead and order your food and use your UID. If you have UCash uploaded on that, or use your wallet, and you can come and pick it up. Just go straight to going about to stand in line or anything like that.
Okay, thank you. Next question is, what about labs or studio spaces? Are those similar to traditional classroom spaces?
So I think if I'm understanding the question correctly, I'm wondering if the student's asking if they have a class this coming fall in a lab or studio space. If that's the case, or I don't know if they're asking, can students also use labs and studio spaces? But either way, so we have computer labs and computer studios around campus, and most of them are open to students. You can find them in our Marriott library, the Union, or in a couple of the buildings on campus, like the engineering buildings will have some, the science buildings will have some, the business school will have some computer labs. To make sure to know about the hours of when you can go and use them, I would check the website to make sure like you can access them, or the operating hours. And then with your UID, you should be able to access them. So yeah, they're you can also expect some of your classes might also be in these labs or studio spaces. But I think that's my answer to the question. I don't know if I'm missing any aspect out, but that's what I think.
Yeah, and there are also, I'll just add to that too, Mary, there are some study spaces, or a lot of study spaces that you can rent, and it's not necessarily a lab or a studio space, but it's basically just a room where you can go, and it can be a quiet study space, or you can have a study group in there, and they have somewhere you can like write on the walls. It's like a glass wall, and you can write all your notes, and there's a lot of those in the library, and just in most of the buildings on campus, I think, have some type of study space where you can either rent it out or just go in if no one's in there. So those are really nice too if you just need a place to study that's a little bit quieter. Okay, we have a question here. Where can I learn more about the MUS? So Sharifa, this one will be for you. Is there a website? Does each sports team have a calendar?
Sweet. So to learn more about the MUS, you can freely go ahead and contact me. I'm willing to go ahead and speak with you about it. But one of the things, if you forget the website, one of the easiest way you can do is just go University of Utah MUS, or just University of Utah Student Athletics. And yes, each individual sport has a calendar that they go by, and they try not to conflict it. You know, some football season is like fall, and then spring you have other seasons, but there's also some season that's going on at the same time as fall. But events do try not to run into each other, so there's opportunity for you to come in and experience all the sports we have here. Yeah, that covers all about it. But feel free to reach out to me if you have any further questions.
Thanks. And Sharifa, do you want to maybe drop your contact information in the question up here, and then we can have those students contact you if they have further questions?
That will. Perfect.
Thanks, awesome. Okay, so we have another question here. Where can we find the shuttle bus schedule? That's a really good question.
Oh, I'd love to take this. I actually, unless Danny, would you like to? I have the app pull up on my phone. I can actually just show you guys. It's called U of U Shuttles. And if you go to it, it looks like this, U of U Shuttles. And you can just see what time each bus route is coming, the red, green, and purple. I break down the bus schedule. The red goes counterclockwise, and the red goes clockwise, the blue goes counterclockwise, and the orange is the quickest to go from the lower campus up straight to housing. And there's other also Wasatch Express, and then Huntsman routes. So it's U of U shuttles.
Great, thank you. Okay, this question says, I'm enrolled for all online classes for this fall due to the COVID situation. Is there a particular portal within our CIS portal where there would be resources like ebooks, videos, etc. related to our courses and more, which we can use for an e-learning space? I am going to, if you want to answer this to any of our presenters, I'm going to find a website for you, and I'm going to drop that into the answer here. So just give me one moment and I'll get you like the exact website that you can go to, but also I'm opening it up to any of the presenters if you want to weigh in on this.
So I will kind of answer one aspect of your question, which you kind of talked about finding resources like ebooks or videos. I'm not sure if you can access it from your CIS portal, but the Marriott Library's website, so I think it's marriott.lib.utah.edu or lib.utah.edu. That's our Marriott Library's website, and they have a section that's specifically for helping students find ebooks and like online learning materials for their classes. So you just have to log in. There's I think a top kind of icon on this website when you pull up lib.utah.edu to log in with your UID and password, and then you may be eligible to find some ebooks or textbooks there through that site.
Yeah, and can I add, most of your professors on these online portals, they will provide some resources for you within your class. So like what Mary was saying, we call it Canvas, which basically holds all of your courses in it. So you can check and see like where your syllabus is, when your assignments are due. There should also be a place where your professor should put like what resources are required for your class. And they may also have some other resources for you on the syllabus or within the course itself that they'll put links within the actual course. So you may not have to go and seek some of those things out, but you know, professors can provide them, but also the library has a lot of good resources, like Mary was saying.
Okay, great, thank you. Yeah, and I'm gonna grab that link for you too as well, and I'll put that in the Q&A here. But while I do that, let's move on to our next question. Okay, this is a good one. Can you tell me more about American personal space? I heard about personal space in American culture. What does this look like with COVID-19?
I can touch base on that. So personal space it really just depends on the individual. If you are stranger to stranger, we really don't like to be really touchy and up, like huggy and stuff like that. But once we get super comfortable with you and we realize, okay, we established a friendship with you and now we're no longer strangers, we do go ahead and hug every now and then and just like super touchy with each other. But one of the things that Americans pretty much try to do is, if you are feeling uncomfortable, feel free to just go ahead and say it. Don't let it don't let it continue all the time. Continue over time. If you feel uncomfortable with the way that someone is approaching you or the way that the friendship is going, just go ahead and say, hey, I'm not I don't feel comfortable with you the way you're interacting with me right now. And then in regards to how COVID is going to look at, like, we will be trying to maintain the 6-foot distance, or whether that is moving day or just in classroom, or we'll speak with your professor, keep a 6-foot distance, wear your mask and stuff like that. But once again, everybody's going to get tested on campus if you are living on campus. If there's any issue where you feel like, oh, you know, nobody's keeping a 6-foot distance, or you can always end up speaking with another students around, as well as advisors who are willing to assist with that. For personal space, it depends on how close you are with that person. Most people will like to keep away, but once they get comfortable with you, we are willing to go ahead and draw a little much closer to one another.
I'm just going to add one more thing about like when riding public transportation or sitting in classrooms. I think this was touched on last week's webinar, but typically here we leave a buffer seat. So if possible, like on trains or on buses, don't go right up and sit right next to the person. Kind of try to leave a bit of space between you and the next passenger. And I think that's great for now too, just to make sure everyone is healthy and safe.
Perfect. Thank you, guys. All right. Let's take one more question since we're a little bit over time. This person says, I am interested in tennis. What are the activities for tennis lovers? Great question. It's a great place to find other tennis lovers.
Perfect. I'm a tennis lover myself. I played tennis in high school and I do it for fun now. But there's about 2 options you can do. You can do intramurals and also just starting your own club organization. And once again, you can go to the Campus Connect, which is getting involved, and search up just tennis, and then that will show up a list of intramurals. But you can also search up on the University of Utah, what is it called? Wow, I'm losing my mind. But the gym website also has access to that, where they'll show you the list of tennis club and intramurals that are hosted, and there are different time slots. If you want to start your own and you have a group of friends you want to go ahead and join, that is you can feel free to do that. There's always that opportunity for you to host your own club.
All right, perfect. Okay, well, that will be our final question for this webinar. Thank you all so much for attending, and thank you so much to our presenters. We'll give you guys a virtual round of applause here. We would like to remind you that this webinar has been recorded. If anyone joined late and missed the introduction at the beginning, it is being recorded, so if you joined late or you had to step out for a moment, don't worry. It is going to be posted onto the ISSS website, and we will be sending an email to all new students with information about how to access these webinars. If you have any additional questions as you prepare to come to campus, please send us an email to this email that is on the screen here, which is international-welcome@utah.edu, and we'll be happy to assist you with those. Again, we're very excited to have you all join us on campus. This photo here on the slide is of our international student ambassadors last fall, and it's going to look a little bit different this fall, but we hope that you'll still be able to meet a lot of people, just like in this picture, and you'll be able to find lots of new friends and just have a really great experience. So please don't hesitate to reach out to us if you have any questions, and we wish you a lot of luck as you travel here, and we hope to see you on campus soon. Thanks, everyone.